Hello, Moonbeams. Welcome back to my channel, Mystic Moon School. This is Donna Cass, and I'm your astrology guide. So today I wanted to come on and drop a podcast for you explaining Jupiter retrograde. This is happening today on Wednesday, October 9th. Jupiter will be retrograde for the next several months until the end of February, I believe February 25th, and then begins to move direct again. And so Jupiter will be retrograding through the sign of Gemini. And just a little kind of overview, I guess I could say. So Jupiter spends 1 year in each sign. And Jupiter moved into Gemini back in May 5th, I believe it was. And Jupiter spends the entire year in this sign and retrogrades at some point and then begins to move forward again. Now, all the planets do this, with the exception of the sun and the moon. And so, you know, we're all used to talking about and hearing about Mercury retrograde and all the havoc it wreaks and, you know, in our technology and our travel plans and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, that's kind of like really the lower expressions of how it plays out. And it's not to say that it doesn't play out that way. Believe me, I had major computer issues this past Mercury retrograde. But there is more significant opportunity for growth for any of the planets retrograding. And with Mercury, it's very much to do with our mind and how we think and communicate. And what's so interesting about this Jupiter retrograde, because Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, the sign of Gemini is also all about the way we think and communicate and learn. Okay, and so I'm going to be taking you through all of the signs based on your rising sign, and I use a whole sign chart house system. And so we're going to be taking a look at what area of life, what house Jupiter is in for you right now, wherever Gemini is in your chart, and what it's going to mean for you over the next several months till the end of February, how this retrograde energy is going to show up for you. Now, just a general word on retrograde energy. Retrograde, retrograde, is all about the RE words. And so in the title here, I have written down releasing, revisiting, and reframing our beliefs. And those are just some of the RE words. There's reflect, reconnect, revisit. Oh, I did put revisit. You know, redo, renovate. You get the gist, okay? So the other key really to understand is that this is very internal energy. We are being given an opportunity by all the planets at several different times during the year to go within and renovate our internal world a little bit, reflect on things that have happened, things that we want to happen, just, you know, really taking some time to go within and to tend to our inner world. And that is what this retrograde is all about, specifically in the way we think, in our beliefs, and how we communicate, because it is happening in the sign of Gemini. Now, Jupiter is the planet of blessings. Wherever Jupiter is in the chart, that's where the blessings are. And so we are being blessed in this area of our chart, wherever Gemini falls for you this year. And so we are getting more clarity on our beliefs and how we think about things. Hopefully we are growing and expanding, because that's another Jupiter words, growing and expanding, in how we communicate, in how we think about the world and ourselves and our relationships and just everything. And back in May when Jupiter moved into the sign of Gemini, I had done a post on Instagram because I had this really strong download, which was just the beginning, really. And I basically said Jupiter in Gemini is expanding how we think and communicate. Telepathy with those whom you resonate vibrationally and thoughts manifesting into reality is going to become so prevalent this year. Mark my words, as they turn into reality. And so I was already receiving the download, you see? And so receiving is another RE word. And we are receiving those downloads, those realizations, those epiphanies, those inspirations, those ideas. These are all Gemini. This is all Gemini terrain. And so when Jupiter in Gemini goes retrograde, it becomes even more internal because that's what retrograde energy wants us to do, to go within and to reflect, to redo, to revisit, to reflect, release, to reconnect. Okay, so really interesting energy. And I'm looking forward to getting into it now with you about where this retrograde energy, the blessings, the expansion, the growth, how we're turning inward with this in certain areas of life based on where it's showing up in your chart. Okay. Now, before I do that, I just want to alert you guys that I have what I think is a beautiful free offering on my website for you all. It's a guide to living by the moon phases that I have created. And it's really just one small way for us to start to live more cyclically. And what does that mean? It means that we have phases too, just like the moon. And we have to honor those cycles of rest and work and receiving and giving and all the different phases. It's not just about what can I do and create and take action on and go, 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 go. That's the old linear way of being. And it just doesn't serve us. And we know that because we get burnt out, okay? And we get drained. And so really this guide is hopefully going to support you in reconnecting with some of the phases, not all, but the main phases that the moon goes through each month and how we can align with those energies in our own life. And we can start to live in more of a cycle that is aligned with the moon and with nature. So I hope you will pop on over to my website, download that for free, print it out, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, I would love to know how you're working with this. If you're not sure of the moon phases each week of the month, there are many free apps that you can download, and it'll just let you know what phase the moon is in each week. And so you can kind of track that along with this guide. And I hope that this supports you. There are many other ways that I love to support you all on this journey. And if you are interested with working with me one-on-one, I offer many different chart readings and holistic coaching sessions. And you can find all of that information on my website as well, mysticmoonschool.com. Okay, now let's get into all 12 signs and where this Jupiter retrograde in Gemini is showing up in your chart. Okay, so we're going to begin with Aries. Aries rising. This Jupiter retrograde energy is showing up in your third house. Now, this is a beautiful synchronicity for you all because the third house is ruled by Mercury and Gemini. And so it's kind of like a doubling down for you on reflecting, reconnecting, possibly releasing any ways of communicating, any ways of thinking that are just not expanding you, right? And so you can really take this time from now until February 25th and really let your mind reflect, revisit, reevaluate all the ways in which you communicate, how you receive communication from others, possibly even how your telepathy is growing, your clairs are growing, your psychic abilities. You know, that inner self-talk, that's also something you want to reflect on during these next several months. And is it kind and compassionate? Is it expanding you and encouraging you? Or is it constricting you and making you feel bad about yourself? Because that self-talk is the core, right? That leads to what we tolerate from others and how they communicate to us. So again, for my Aries rising, this is happening in your third house. Okay, so now we are moving to Taurus rising. Taurus rising, this Jupiter retrograding in the sign of Gemini is happening in your second house. And so the second house, yes, on one level, it is all about the money that you make. But let's think about money more esoterically. And money is about value, right? And so the second house is also about you and your self-value and your self-worth and what you value about yourself and just in life. And so Jupiter retrograding here is asking you to go within and really reflect on your own self-worth. And do you honor yourself? Do you engage with others, other people, other situations, experiences that reflect back to you how you see yourself and your own value and your own worth? Now, this can very easily coincide with the money that you make. For example, a very kind of mundane example could be, I know what I bring to this job, and it's time for me to ask for a raise or a promotion or whatever it may be, right? Based on the value that I bring and for me honoring my own value in this situation. So it could easily connect with the money that you do make. But let's be real, not everybody has a job where they are making money. You know, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're retired or any number of reasons. This is about your self-worth. And so you are being asked now by Jupiter going retrograde to reflect on your self-worth and value, and how do you honor that in all the different ways that you live life. Okay. So now for Gemini rising, right? This is obviously happening in your first house. And the first house is all about you. So back in May, when Jupiter moved into Gemini from Taurus, I am sure you felt some kind of shift about yourself. You may have been receiving many blessings about your sense of self being recognized, expanding. Maybe you're going for more learning a new course or a new program. Maybe you are expanding in your spiritual beliefs, in your spirituality practices. You could be expanding just like in the way that like you're just taking up more space in your own life, right? And you're becoming more of your true authentic self. And so, you know, Geminis, yes, you can get in your head. So when Jupiter is retrograding in your first house, the sign of you and your sense of self, you may be really in your head a lot, because this is internal energy about you and where you are now at this point of your life, and are you on track, and is this really who I want to be and where I want to be going? And so I would just ask you to be cognizant, don't fall into the looping, the mind loops, right? And so instead, maybe try to do some gentle soft, slow breath work, okay? Whenever you drop into that overthinking, the looping. And just know that this is a year of blessings on you. And so you can take these next several months to reflect on how far you've come and really how you want to expand going forward. Okay. Okay, so now we move to our Cancer risings, and Jupiter is retrograding in the sign of Gemini, which falls in your 12th house, Cancer. Now, this is super duper internal energy. This is the most internal house in the chart. And Jupiter going retrograde is asking you to be even more reflective, to reconnect with your higher self in the 12th house. To, I would say, if you don't already, try to take up a meditation practice. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that you just have to sit there and try to quiet all your thoughts or focus all your thoughts in, in a seated position. It could mean that you go for a walking meditation, or every time you take a shower, you do shower meditation, or you try mantra, whatever kind of meditation might be easiest for you, and set the intention every time you do that you are wanting to receive messages from your higher self on how you can expand. That is what this energy is asking of you. And so things may be coming up from the subconscious for you that never bubbled up before, and you may be having some real epiphanies and realizations. This can be an extremely illuminating time for you, Cancer rising. And so really try to work with this energy and be open to receiving all of the messages from your higher self and how you're ready to expand now over these next several months until the end of February. Okay, so now we are shifting to Leo rising. Now, Leo risings, this Jupiter retro energy is happening in Gemini, is in your 11th house. So the 11th house is all about your friendships, your groups, and communities that you belong to. And it's also your hopes and dreams for the future. And so this Jupiter retro energy is really asking you to reflect on those groups and communities that expand you, and friendships that expand you, and that you can expand into more and more of your true authentic self. And those that don't, and those are the ones that you can start to release now over the next several months. And so it's also, about your hopes, dreams, and wishes for the future. And so you may be really reflecting on that, how you want to expand into the future. Just, for yourself. And that can really span any aspect of life, but it could also incorporate some sort of group or friendship or community. And again, it should be expanding you, not constricting you, right? You have to be able to grow and expand more and more into your true authentic self, which is also very 11th house. It's ruled by Aquarius. So anything that is inauthentic for you with your groups, communities, and friendships, or even hopes and dreams for the future that just don't resonate for you anymore, you're going to be releasing those over the next several months, and be open to receiving the new that's more aligned for who you are now and who you are becoming. Okay, so now we have Virgo rising. For my Virgo risings, this Jupiter retrograde is happening in your 10th house. Gemini is your 10th house of work, of career, and it is typically your most public sense of self. Not always. The MC can show up in the 9th or the 11th house, but for a lot of you out there, it will also be in your 10th house. But mostly this is happening in whatever career path you are on right now. And so Jupiter retrograding here is, remember, it's an internal energy. And so it's asking you to reflect on your career path and how you want to expand into this path in the coming months. So for the next several months till the end of February, this is going to be a time of reflection, of revisiting. You may even be getting offers coming back from the past, right? That are going to show up for you. And this ultimately, the question you're going to want to ask is this expanding me or is it constricting me on my career path forward, in my purpose, in what the long-term goals are for me in my career? And so really it's a matter of you reflecting on, will this expand me, or is this just going to keep me stuck or stagnant or constricted, like I cannot expand? And that's really the question. And if it's going to expand you, even if you may feel a little fear around that, that's okay. We often do feel fear when we're about to expand into the next level. But if you feel that ultimately it is going to expand you on your path forward, then you want to really reflect on it and kind of see, is this part of my overall bigger plan? And if it is, then it could very well be a yes for you going forward. Okay, so now we have come to our Libra risings. And for Libra rising, this Jupiter retrograding in the sign of Gemini is showing up for you in your 9th house. Now, 9th house is all about world travel, and overall it is about expansion. It is about expansion of your beliefs, your philosophies, your spirituality. It can be about teaching. It can be even about publishing. And, it's interesting that it is about foreign travel, because doesn't that expand you, right? Every time you go to a new state, a new country, it expands you in some way, shape, or form. And so because Jupiter is retrograding now for the next several months, you may be, if you are a world traveler, you may be slowing down in your travels for the next few months. You may be reflecting on where you want to travel next and doing the planning for that. You may be really going within, internally reflecting on your beliefs, your spiritual beliefs, your philosophies on life. And this is a really kind of private internal energy. Whatever starts to come up for you around your beliefs now, and you're questioning, you're revisiting things, you're reflecting on things, perhaps you are also releasing some beliefs that just no longer serve you. Maybe you are reframing some beliefs that you have held on to. There's new ways of looking at things, new perspectives. This is all 9th house energy. And so the next several months until the end of February, you are preparing, I believe, for an even bigger expansion in your beliefs, in your philosophies on life, and your spiritual journey. And this is the time where you're going within and you're reevaluating everything. So don't get in your head too much, Libra. I know the air signs have a tendency towards that, but maybe write things down and don't fall into the rabbit hole or the looping, but maybe talk it out with another. Libras are great with another. So any philosophies, any new epiphanies you're having, any new spiritual ideas that you're having, find someone that you can talk it out with, and that's really going to help you with your clarity. Of course, it will all become so much more clear at the end of February when Jupiter moves direct again. Okay, for my Scorpio risings, Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Gemini is showing up for you in your 8th house. Scorpio, you rule the 8th house. This is your home house. And so this house is all about death and rebirth. Now, yes, this can be a literal death, and that could be something that is showing up in some other people in your life. And this may be something that you're already aware of. But it could also very, very well be a metaphorical death and rebirth for you. And perhaps even for you and in some relationship that you are having, because eighth house is also relationships with others. It can be very tied to a monetary relationship. Like, for example, if you have a business partner, right? Or you are receiving a loan from a bank. That's the kind of monetary relationship that eighth house will show up in the eighth house. But you know, eighth house is so much more than that. Eighth house is sexuality. Eighth house is any sort of divination, whether it is astrology or tarot or psychic abilities, mediumship, any of these esoteric subjects. And so, Scorpio, you love to go deep and find out the why. And so, because Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is going internally, retrograding, you're going to be diving even deeper into some of these subjects. If that is how, what you're drawn to. And ultimately, this is going to expand you in some way, because that's what Jupiter does, whether it's retrograding or it's moving forward. Jupiter is still always about expansion. And so sometimes it's just more outwardly focused in our lives, and sometimes it's much more internal in how we feel and how we think. And so this is definitely more of an internal feeling energy. I would also say that your intuition is going to get super duper strong over these next several months into this eighth house. So trust that gut feeling you have on whatever it is from now until the end of February. Whatever shows up for you intuitively, that is really going to be really strong for you. So trust it. For my Sagittarius rising. So Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And so Jupiter retrograding, your ruling planet retrograding in the sign of Gemini, is showing up in your 7th house. And so Sagittarius, you're already naturally expansive. You're always learning. You have a lot of knowledge to share. Chances are you are always wanting to expand and learn and share that knowledge with others. And so this is happening in your 7th house of one-to-one relationships. And so what I feel, how this is, going to show up for you from now until the end of February, is that you're really going to go within, okay? And you're really going to be reflecting on your one-to-one relationships. Are they expanding you? Are they allowing you to expand and grow into your next level, into who you truly came here to be, your authentic self? Or are these one-to-one relationships feeling constricting? Like you have to put on some sort of mask for them. You have to show up in a certain way. You can't just be your true self. You can't grow and explore and expand. And so this is the questions that you're going to be reflecting on, and really, going within to reflect on these relationships in your life. Now, the one-to-one relationships in the 7th house absolutely are romantic relationships, but not only. They are really, truly any one-to-one relationship that you have in your life. So this could be a family relationship, a friendship, a work relationship, a collaborative partner, on a project or anything one-to-one, okay? So the question is, do you feel you can expand and grow within these, or just the opposite? And This is something you're going to be reflecting on over the next several months. And when Jupiter goes direct, you will have, if not before then, you will have real clarity on that at the end of February. Okay, so for my Capricorn risings, this Jupiter retrograde is happening in your 6th house. Gemini is in your 6th house. And so the 6th house, on the one hand, is quite mundane in terms of it is your everyday. It is your everyday routines. It is your everyday work that you need to get done. Possibly your job that you go to every day if you have that situation. Not everybody does. And the 6th house is also like where we can be of service. Okay. And I always say, first and foremost, you must be in service to yourself. And then once that cup is filled, then you can be of service to others. 6th house is also purpose, like what gives you a sense of purpose every day, and also healing. The 6th house definitely is the healer within us all. And so Jupiter retrograding here is going to ask you to revisit your everyday routines. Are they working for you? Is your everyday work expanding you? Do you feel like it's aligned and you can grow, and you feel, or do you feel stagnant and stuck, right? Or it's too constricting for you and something's got to give. Do you feel that in whatever way you feel of being of service, do you feel that that is also an expansive feeling that you get, or do you feel like, does it make you feel smaller, right? This is another question that you're going to want to reflect on in this 6th house energy, and as well as the healing aspect. Whether you are quite literally an energetic healer, whether you do that work in the world, or you are simply just a healing presence for the people in your life, just by your own unique energy. Do you feel that that is being squashed, or do you feel that you're expanding further into these healing energies? This is a time where we turn within and we reflect on all of this. If there are aspects to your everyday or your service or purpose that are just constricting you, then you're going to want to release it, right? And revisit how you can go back to the drawing table and make this so it is more expansive for you, so where you can grow in this area of your life. Okay. Now we are moving on to Aquarius rising. And for Aquarius rising, this Jupiter retrograde in Gemini is happening in your 5th house. And so the 5th house is all about creativity. It is about your inner child and your imagination. It is about fun, and it is about romance. Yes, it is about taking some risks too. Healthy risks, I would say, right? But because Jupiter is now going to be retrograding here, this is going to be asking you to reflect, to go within and revisit the romance, the fun, the creativity, and how you're expressing that in your life. And is it time to reconnect with all of that? Is it time to revisit romance? In fact, I would even say someone from your past romantically may show up again between now and the end of February, the 25th, okay? And so what you're going to want to do, though, is ask, am I going to expand if I engage with this person? Or is this going to constrict me in some way where I can't be my true self? It's not a bad thing if someone from the past comes back romantically, it's just something you want to reflect on and say, is this, does this person, does this maybe dynamic and relationship align with who I am now? And is it going to, am I going to be able to expand and grow in this relationship? And you know what? Maybe that person has expanded and grown. And so maybe it's a great fit now going forward. If this doesn't play out as a romantic interest, this could play out as new creative sparks and ideas are coming back to you. New creative projects that you had thought about that somehow went to the sideline. Now maybe they're coming back into your experience. And so you may want to revisit them. And if there's anything that you're feeling, whether it's the relationship or any sort of risk taking that you engage in that's just not serving you, it's time to release that as well. Okay. And last but never least, beautiful Pisces rising. So for my Pisces risings, this Jupiter retrograding in the sign of Gemini is showing up in your 4th house of home, like literally the home space that you live in. It can also be about your childhood experiences, the family that you grew up with, the conditioning that came along with that. It could be about your mom, your mother, and it is also about feeling at home within yourself. And so this retrograde energy, this, Jupiter being so expansive, the way that I'm really seeing this showing up, at least one of the ways this can show up, is that you may be revisiting things from your childhood, and those memories, the way that you're able to perceive them now and understand them now, are from a much more expanded viewpoint, and you can understand why things had to play out the way they did. And this is going to expand you in very deep ways, Pisces. And so it very well could be that you are ready to release childhood conditioning. Release, that's one of the RE words, right? And so it just doesn't serve you anymore. You've expanded beyond it. Jupiter's all about expansion. And so because Jupiter is retrograding, this is a really internal energy. It's a very reflective energy. And so you could be having, recollections and memories and revisiting these things in your mind. Gemini's the mind. And so you're ready to release now old ways of thinking about childhood experiences, your family of origin, maybe your mother specifically. And I feel that this can be a very deeply healing time from now until February 25th. This can also be a time where you are really, that's an RE word, isn't it? Kinda. You are really feeling more and more at home within yourself. You just are really feeling into your true authentic self, and you feel at home being on your own, being in your home space, very possibly. Of course, another tangible way this could show up is your home space. You could literally be thinking about a redo, a redecorating, a renovation, a remodeling of your house space, your home space. And that will hopefully expand you in some way as well, and maybe make you feel more at home within your home space. Okay, so that is all 12 signs, and that is where Jupiter will be retrograding for you based on your rising sign in the whole sign house system that I use. But remember that any of these energies could have resonated for you if you have listened to the whole podcast. And you just always need to trust your intuition. And so just, especially for my air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra, don't get in your head too much. Don't fall into the looping. When that happens, have awareness around it and just stop it. Literally stop it. Speak to yourself and say, nope, not going to go there right now. I'm going to go engage with something else right now. I'm literally going to do something else. I'm literally going to think about something else, whatever it may be. Because if you can get out of the loop thinking and be open to receive, and that's not just for my air signs, that's for all of you. If you can be open to receiving these beautiful reflections from your higher self at this time, it is going to expand you in ways that you just never could have thought or imagined. And once Jupiter goes direct again at the end of February, this is going to be yet a new version of you. A new way that you think, new beliefs, new ways of relating, all the different beautiful things that you are expanding into now. I want to thank you so much for listening. I'm wishing you a beautiful, beautiful week with so much magic, love, and peace. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give it a like, a share with your friends or family. Please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me to grow and reach more and more people who will feel supported by these energies and by my interpretations, really. And I really love connecting with you all. So if you've already been feeling some of these energies, if anything has resonated for you and you'd like to leave a comment, I would love to connect with you and to hear from you. I'll see you soon under the moon. Bye-bye for now.